and welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us on today is Dean Winchester's birthday. So a very happy birthday to Dean Winchester. And we will be watching season 2, episode 9, Croatoan. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, operating heavy machinery, or murdering our neighbors. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, I can't say this is my first drink of the evening because I may have pre-gamed just a
Oh,
little
ever
bit.
so slightly.
Yes, but right now I went for good old bourbon.
Some hunter fuel for you. The featured cocktail for this episode is called Make Me Disappear. It is 2 ounces of white rum, 1/2 ounce of orange cognac, 1 ounce of lime juice, 1 ounce of orgeat syrup, which I may or may not be pronouncing correctly, but it's an almond bitters, 1/2 ounce of demerara syrup. Shake all that with ice and strain over fresh ice. Wizard Dave, if you could bring up our Stupornatural game cards for us, please. So I will say this is something of a boozy episode. Um, that being said, I don't have a lot of hope for mine.
Uh, mine can go kind of either way.
Okay, well, we're gonna find out. So
Yes.
the first one is on the house. Always cheers.
Cheers.
Hmm.
Woo!
Okay, it's interesting. It's not my favorite,
I was gonna
but
say
it's
it's
not bad.
oh, okay, because the way you were describing it, I was kind of cringing.
Yeah, the lime juice makes it pretty tangy. So I might be like a little bit my water a little. Um, but the rum and the orange cognac and stuff, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, okay, if you're playing along with us, then there is a link to generate game cards of your very own in the link tree, and I wish you wonderful luck and zero sobriety. So, so with that, let's get the show on the road.
Yep.
So we start off with the then, and it's something of it starts out as kind of a basic previously on, but then it starts to focus really heavily on, Sam and the yellow-eyed demon and, these, they call them, the children, these kids who, like Sam, have some kind of special ability. We also see John whisper something to Dean in the hospital, and how whatever this is, he's not telling Sam yet, but it's just really pissing him off, and he's not himself. We've got
Nope.
another look at him beating the hell out of Baby, and then that last shot of him with the blood spatter. We cut right to that with this really kind of close look of at Dean, um, looking very intense. He walks into a, a room. There's a gentleman tied to a chair. It's all filmed in these really gorgeous close-ups. And they do this kind of cool thing where they'll use a wide angle lens and get really close, and it distorts the face, and it makes everything look really kind of surreal. And this guy is just begging for his life, and Dean just really kind of cold-heartedly uh, puts a couple rounds in this guy. Um, and this little twitch in his lip,
Yeah.
I think, is a really great performance choice from Jensen.
I
Uh,
love I love how they photograph that they filmed that with the flashes of light
yeah,
and all that, and then you just see the orange, and then with Sam just laying on the floor and everything, and then
yeah,
of course we now
yeah.
have the
So
cold
this is
open.
yeah, so well that was the cold open. So now we've got the
Yeah,
title
not
card.
that hard. Yeah,
And but yeah, that was so we see it just before the title card that this is a dream that Sam has had. And now they're on their way to Oregon because conveniently there was a nice poster of Oregon uh in the room where Dean shot this guy. Um and so they're on their way there because something's going on, and all Sam knows is Dean killed this guy, and he's this is a vision, and Dean is kind of not, I don't want to say he's not buying it because they're in the car. You know that
yeah.
if Dean didn't feel comfortable going, they would not be in the car. um but
You
he
can feel
he's
the tension though in this scene. It's like I wouldn't just plug someone in and yeah, right. Yeah, fine,
it,
fine, fine. It's like you
yeah,
can feel it's like, okay, who's trying to convince whom in this scene
yeah,
that
yeah, I
he wouldn't
agree.
just kill somebody in cold blood? It's I'm not sure
Yeah.
who's trying to talk who into that.
No, I completely agree with you that you know Dean is he's saying he doesn't believe it, that he wouldn't just kill somebody innocent, but you can hear in his tone he's not entirely confident. We did have a quirky motel room back there, so we'll come back for that. That actor who was tied to the chair, his name is Diego Klatanoff, and he was in The Blacklist, and also Homeland. So I recognized him from, and there's his name, Diego Klatanoff. And as they pull into town, this little place in Oregon, they spot a gentleman with a fishing rod.
Yeah.
We've got some fake IDs. Um, and I'm fairly certain we also missed because we were chatting that Dean eats at some point here. So we'll take a look for this. Um, those squares in a moment. But amusingly enough, they identify themselves as Agents Beard and Gibbons, who are from ZZ Top. So you could see this guy is kind of like, okay, fine. All right, Lynn, I see you paused it. Go ahead.
So, because of course you love, of course you know that I love pointing out what the rare occasion when Supernatural makes an oopsie,
Yeah, it happens.
because I find them comical because it is very rare.
Right.
So the tattoo that causes um Dean to point out that he's like, oh, so you were it so that so you were a I think he said captain, but Captain
Corporal.
Marshall.
No, no, sorry.
Corporal.
John was a corporal. Yeah. But yes, he know I think he calls him sergeant.
I believe so. I've watched the episode
Anyway,
3 times.
tattoo.
Yeah. And the tattoo has zero to do with anything that would tie him to that
Yeah.
that should have made Dean think of that. So anyways, that just made me chuckle.
Yeah, Dean is just that good that he can
Okay.
pull this guy's rank out of a tattoo that has no indicator of rank. You know what? While you
Okay.
have it paused, actually, since we're
Okay.
here, let's go ahead and check our cards. So we're looking for a quirky motel room, Dean eats, and a fake ID. I have
Uh,
fake IDs.
I
I
have
also have
fake
quirky
ID.
motel room.
I don't think I do, but I did not get a lot of chance to check out this card before we started recording. I will be
That's okay.
honest.
That's all right. I have
Oh wait
two.
a minute. I do have D needs or drinks. So,
Okay, that's the one I don't have. So good for you.
alrighty.
Oh,
See, there is one convenience to. Normally, we don't talk about when we're recording, but normally we record on a Monday, and
every
we're recording on a Friday.
today
I
is a
don't
Friday.
I don't have to worry about getting up for work in the morning.
Oh no, no. I do have a facial in the bright and early, but I don't need to really be awake for that. So don't leave me hanging here.
Oh, I'm not. Mm. Ugh. Yum
All right.
yum.
So hitting play,
Yeah.
and they're talking to this gentleman that they magically know was a Marine.
Yes.
Um, And so the gentleman in Sam's vision had a very conspicuous scar on his forehead. And again, sort of coincidentally, this guy recognizes the person they're describing just by nature of having a scar on his forehead. So we've got the writer is John Scheibin. And as they're walking along, Sam notices the word Croatoan carved into a telephone pole. Uh,
I love this discussion of don't you remember this from history? And whatever he's talking about, he's like, that was a show, not
yeah,
history class. He's like, yeah, close enough.
yeah, he's talking
Schoolhouse
about
Rock.
Schoolhouse
Schoolhouse
Rock,
Rock.
which if you're not old enough to remember Schoolhouse Rock, just Google them. They're cute little videos. Um, but yeah, so it gives Sam an opportunity to explain to Dean and anyone in the audience who's not familiar with the lost colony of Roanoke what happened there. And so the colonists disappeared, and all that was left behind was a single word carved into a tree, which is Croatoan. So they're going to talk more about that as the episode goes along. But Dean's real question is like, how in the world is any of this tied to the yellow-eyed demon?
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously is an answer they don't have yet. But
Yeah.
Dean pulls his phone out of his pocket and he doesn't have any cell reception. Sam doesn't have any cell reception. Um, and it's something that's kind of interesting. Oh goodness, a public phone
Public
booth.
phone.
That the
And
line
what's
is
funny
dead.
is that I'm very much showing my age here. When seeing a payphone in a show does not phase me
Yeah,
because I am old enough that they were so common that it's like,
they
okay,
used
there's
to
a
be.
payphone. Yeah, it's like there's a payphone. What the hell's the big deal?
Yeah, they used to be ubiquitous, but not so much anymore. You know what? I'm going to pause this super quickly. There's one comment I do want to make here, just before we lose sight of it, that Dean makes a comment that if he were going to try to take over a town, the first thing he would do is cut off cell reception. Entertainingly enough, if you've seen the video that I did, the bonus content on the um, the official tie-in novels. The first one is Nevermore, and the second is Witch's Canyon. They take place prior to Croatoan, and they're in Witch's Canyon. There's a situation where they're in a town that's under siege from a supernatural force, and the very first thing that happens is all the cell phone reception goes. They can't call out. Um, so
Well,
it's
also, don't they also cut out the phone line? So, like, it's
yeah,
like not only is the cell reception gone,
yep.
all phones are gone.
Yeah, there is no contact with the outside world, which is exactly what happens in Witch's Canyon.
Yeah.
So it's something that I will say it annoys me a little bit about the novel that they they put it at this place in the timeline where essentially you have very similar stories back to back. Uh, but if you want to hear more about what I have to say about that, you can watch that video too. Okay, so we're hitting play, and they've showed up here. They're looking for the guy who was identified from miraculously from the scar on his forehead, and they show up here, and the little brother is saying like, "Oh, he's gone. He's on a fishing trip. Nobody's here."
What
And
is
then
it with
all
fishing trips in this show? Everybody who is miraculously not around is on a fishing trip.
a fishing
That's
trip.
the like
Fisher's
everyone
got a fish. I don't know. But here comes the dad, and the dad's like, "Oh yeah, no, we're here." Like, so no Diego Klatinoff, who's playing a character named Dwayne. So there's no Dwayne. But Sam and Dean can tell that this family is acting really shifty. Like the dad and the brother, like this is creepy, right? You know.
Yeah, like two Stepfordy.
To Stepford. So they start to walk around the house, and they're trying to peek in the windows. And here's this actor is called her name is Chilton Crane. She's playing Beverly Tanner. She's the mom. She was in the 4400, and she will go on to appear three more times in Supernatural. So as Sam and Dean are watching through the window, they see the dad cut the brother's arm, and he's bleeding into an open wound that the mother Beverly has. They shoot the father, the brother, the younger brother, the son, he hops out a window and he runs away. There's this really kind of crappy, like herky jerky fast slow motion thing they do that I don't love. Um, but he escapes. He gets away. They take the mother to a clinic in town. And there's going to be an argument coming up here where Dean is not thrilled at Sam for not taking the shot. Um, so it's clearly a small town. The nurse recognizes Beverly Tanner. They're taking her back to see what kind of care she needs. And here comes Dean. So he's pulled the dad out of the trunk of the Impala. He's essentially wrapped him in a blanket, and he's now like carrying him around. So he's claiming to be a U.S. Marshal, and he's got a body in a blanket over his shoulders. And the doctor's like, seems legit.
Sure.
Sure. Seems
Oh,
legit. Come on in. So
oh,
here's the doctor. She's interviewing the mom, and she's saying that, her husband and her son beat her, tied her to a chair. The doctor says, is there anything you can think of why they would behave this way? And the wife says, they had the devil in them. So it's a fun little piece of foreshadowing, I think, that she
mhm.
drops that line.
Yeah.
Sam and Dean head back out,
Yes.
and they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this town. Um, is it a vast possession? Like what is happening? People are, behaving in an atypical way. Why? What makes any kind of sense here? Um, so here's this fight I mentioned
Yeah,
earlier,
yeah,
right, where
yeah.
Sam
But
is like, it's a kid. Go ahead.
now it's gonna say they jump into the morality of it,
Yeah.
which I love when they dip into that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question here. Like they don't know what's causing this. If it's possessed people, they know how to exorcise demons, so there is the possibility they could save people. And but Dean is going straight to execute with extreme prejudice. That's, he's skipping a couple steps and he's going straight to mass murder. Um, he takes off. He's going to try to find a way out of town, and he doesn't get very far. He starts
Yep.
to see evidence of some additional tragedies happening other than just, what's happened to the Tannel family.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a car here that's it's been shot up. There's blood everywhere, and we've got this close up of this
Oh,
bloody baby carrier that's just
oh,
so distressing. Um, so I mean, this is a serious tragedy here, whatever's
yes.
happening. There's the glass broken, there's bloody knives, like somebody just slaughtered this family, including an infant. Um, so this is not even by the Winchester standards, that something really terrible is happening here. Cut back to the
Mhm.
clinic. We've got the doctor looking through a microscope. Understanding the town is now like cut off and she's kind of left to her own devices. She seems to have kind of a strange amount of equipment for
I say
for a little rural doctor's office.
yeah, exactly. For as empty as that waiting room was, she's that is surprisingly well equipped.
Yeah, so she's got like an entire CDC lab in her her little rural doctor's office here. But she's saying that there's what appears to her to be sulfur in the father's blood.
Which of course
So
with Sam is like ding 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 ding
demons.
ding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Cupid doll goes to Uh, so cut back to Dean. He's still trying
Yep.
to get out of town. This is the same bridge that in Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things that she crashed her car into. So this is a location that Supernatural comes back to.
Oh
Dean
God.
stops a little ways away. We've got a little jump scare here. And this guy is trying to get Dean out of the car. And he's saying there's a quarantine. We're not letting anybody through. Order the county sheriff. Can I talk to the sheriff? Oh no, he just called. It's fine. And he says, why don't you get out? We
I
can talk. And Dean says, you are a handsome devil, but I don't swing
don't
that
swing
way.
that
Sorry.
way. I love that line. And then
And so we've got a go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna say we got a tire screech, which of course I love it when baby does that.
We do have a tire squeal here. I love this stunt here. This is so good where Dean drives away and the guy's hanging on the side of the car. Dean whips the car around and the guy just flies off. I think that's a great stunt. Really well done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll stop in a moment, but I want to let this play through here. And coming back to Beverly, she's asking if there's any chance that Beverly could be infected with the same virus that her husband was infected by. She's pretending to be all distraught. And then she just starts shrieking. She grabs the doctor. We've got this terrible herky jerky thing again that I don't love. Sam gets thrown into a wall. She comes at Sam with a scalpel, and Sam just clocks her in the head. And so she's now knocked out. So we'll look for that as well. Um, and tragically, we only get about 67% of a son of a bitch here. So
Yeah, but I noticed that. I was like, damn it, he doesn't say the bitch.
versus versus um but here it is. We've got this sergeant. He just shot his neighbor, whose name is Mr. Rogers. Um, but the two of them are standing here pointing guns at each other. He's like, "What's going on here? This is all insane." And and Dean, of course, says, "You have a neighbor named Mr. Rogers," and he says,
I love
"Not anymore."
I'm sorry. I laugh at that every single time. You think I'd be over that line by now, but
No,
nope.
it's cute. It's cute. Um, so they get into the car, they're driving, and they're both holding guns on each other. And Dean's like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be a super relaxing drive." So they're driving off. Okay, I'm gonna pause this here. All right, so we are looking for
And then we
baby's tire squeal, somebody gets thrown against a wall, and somebody gets knocked out. Um,
and also we also had
wow.
we also had somebody kicks in a
Oh,
door.
when did that happen?
We didn't talk about it, but
We didn't.
Dean clearly kicked in a door
When?
when what scene was that in? You were in the middle of a sentence. I didn't want to interrupt you. Um, when when the wife was about to get infected by the husband, he kicked in the door to kill the husband.
Oh, I missed that. Hang on. Let's instant replay it.
I'm 99.9%
Oh,
sure of that one.
I don't disbelieve you. I just because we can. All right, we're backing it up here.
Yeah.
Let's see. We can oh,
There, right there.
yes, you are correct. I missed that. That is a door kick. Well spotted. So, in that case, we need a someone kicks in a door as well. Good
Yeah, you
eye, Lynn. I don't have it though, which makes me
all
sad.
right. All right, so wait a minute. So we have someone gets thrown against a wall. I have
Yes.
that one.
Someone gets
Uh,
knocked out,
I have that one.
uh,
And
door kick,
oh wait a minute, I have baby's tire squeal.
and baby's tire squeal.
And I after I spotted the door kick, I don't have the door
No.
kick.
Well,
It's like
thankfully, if you're playing too, you have it after all that. But no, well spotted. I had missed that. So, okay, I have two. I have someone gets knocked out and someone gets thrown against a wall.
so yeah. Now, and I had both of those plus the tire squeal. So
All right, good
cheers.
for you. Cheers.
Mm.
That one's growing on me.
Oh, woo! God, I love
All
that bourbon.
right. Okay, hitting play. We're back at the clinic, and the Nurse is starting to freak out. Um, she starts looking for an exit. Her name is Pam. Um, Sam goes after her like, yeah, no, you're safer here. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's better. It's better if you don't run off. People are acting crazy out there. Um, he still at this point thinks Dean has gone for reinforcements. So he's like, look, see, all better. Help is here. And
Well,
he lets Dean,
theoretically, he brings a reinforcement, just not reinforcements.
no, no. So he says, roadblock. Um, so yeah, he's not empty-handed, but it's not the National Guard.
No.
Uh, so unfortunately, what Sam has been able to put together is that this is some kind of a demon virus, and they are deliberately attempting to infect many people as possible, and it
Yep.
requires blood-to-blood contact. Um, he says that he found something in Dad's journal. Now we do have a Sammy here, so we'll go for that in a moment. Um, Entertainingly enough, according to um, what he says is in John's journal, that John thought that Croatoan was the name of a demon. There was a Stephen King miniseries called Storm of the Century. And in that miniseries, a demon was responsible for the colonists at Roanoke going missing, that he forced them to drown themselves in the ocean. So it's kind of interesting that they're making a connection here between Croatoan and demons. Meanwhile,
Wow.
uh, they're starting to say like, okay, is there anything that we can do for Beverly Tanner? And like it's contagious, she's violent. um the doctor's like, I got nothing. It looks
Yeah.
like I have an entire CDC lab here, but I can't in fact create an antidote out of thin air.
Well, I love it. She's like, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, yeah, like we are in the dark here, there's nothing we can do. So this is not the person who was in Sam's vision at the beginning, but it's a
No.
similar set of circumstances where, this woman is in the corner, she's begging for her life. Nadine has gotten confirmation. He's like, "You're sure she's infected. You're certain." And you can see that Sam is really kind of broken up over this. And Dean just stone-faced puts 3 rounds in her. But yeah, he's fine. Dean is fine.
Well, I was
Ben,
see
go
now
ahead.
I read Sam's face very differently in that scene.
Okay, we've got to look for. I'm going to pause this here because we've got to look. I'm going to pause it. There,
Yeah, it's
we've
like
got to look for a Sammy here. So you go ahead and talk while we have it paused, and we'll look for a Sammy. So how do you
uh,
read Sam's face?
determination, like not so much
Okay,
broken up as serious. I know what I saw, and no doubt in his mind. Like,
okay, interesting.
like he this like this one he knows it.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Um,
And
how is your
unfortunately,
card?
I do not have a Sammy.
All right, well, this one is all me then. I do have
Nah,
one.
I
So
can't.
cheers.
I can't let you drink the love. That 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 don't work. I will make it a smaller one, but
Okay.
cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I make them all reasonable size, and wow, life will
They're
life will life will get really interesting.
They're fun-sized. Okay, hitting play.
Yep.
Sam, Dean, Sergeant, uh, doctor, and nurse, they're all holed up here in the doctor's office, and they're getting ready for a siege. So they're loading weapons. There are
Now
violent townspeople
look at the
outside.
look he gives him.
Who,
Look at the
who
look that
he
Sam
gives which him.
the look that Sam gave Dean
All
was
right, let's
very
back it up here. Let's take another look at this.
hold on. Go if you look at the look that look he kind of it's kind of more like a side eye.
It's a,
Like a
well, okay, hang on. I want to look at it one more time here.
he
So let's see here. So we've got um Sam is looking at a knife and he, okay, it looks, I'm not saying you're wrong. What it looks to me is that he's looking at the knife.
when he looks at the knife and then Dean is doing that
Oh, I
and it
see it here.
see and then he's looking at Dean.
Okay. All right, I see what you're saying. I was in the wrong spot. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think you're right in that he, now that I see it, I would agree with you that I think he knows Dean is not himself, and he's a little
No.
concerned about how Dean is going to handle himself in a siege situation.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like we saw it in the cold open. One of these days, I will get the terminology correct.
no
In
worries,
in
no worries.
in the cold open, when he said, "When you're hunting, you're damn right. What did he say? When you're hunting, you're flat out scary, or so you're flat
Yes.
out of control, or something to that effect."
Yeah, that was in the then segment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a repeat from a previous episode.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
I kind of take it from there of
yeah,
like it's like kind of watching to see checking to see how he's doing
yeah,
because he's not convinced that Dean's all there,
yeah,
for lack of a better
yeah,
way of phrasing it.
yeah. No, no, I would agree with you now that I see it. Well, I should say I completely agree with you, and I agree that that little side eye he gave Dean is indicative of that. I would agree with all that.
Yeah.
So Dwayne has showed back up. He says he was on a fishing trip. He's been in the woods, and he just shows up and everybody's acting crazy.
I love this
Um,
awkward because it's like,
well,
wait a minute, where's mom and dad?
where's mom
Awkward.
and dad? And yeah, Dean is like, oh, well, fun thing about your parents, I kind of shot them both. We did.
Sorry,
Um,
that's actually not funny, but just the comment is.
no, but the way Dean says it, which is really kind of inappropriate in these circumstances. But yeah, before Dwayne showed up, though, they were talking about trying to get through this roadblock on the
Yeah,
bridge. And the sergeant's like, it's not possible unless you have explosives.
yeah.
And Sam looks around at the chemicals that are available in this surprisingly well-stocked doctor's office in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, well, we can make them, which is something we're going to see from Sam again later in the series, actually from both brothers, that they know how to make IEDs. They can make improvised explosive devices if the occasion calls for it.
That does not surprise me.
Not in the tiniest, no. Um, but yeah, so this is I think, really the first indication we get in the show that this is a skill of theirs, but and we're going to see them come back to this. The boys start continuing this fight. So now the guy Sam saw in his vision has showed up. They're
Mm-hmm.
tying him up. Sam and
Oh,
Dean start to fight over whether they're going to shoot this guy, and Dean locks Sam in a room, and he's shouting at Dean, "Don't do it. This is what we saw in the cold open." This kind of determined look on Dean's face. He comes in, and now, it's not quite as bad as what Sam saw. Um, but it's like the dialogue is all the same.
Yep.
And we've got this guy saying, like, please don't kill me. That Dean's looking at the doctor like, can you tell if he's infected or not? The doc's like, I just can't tell. I don't even know what I'm looking for. um I'm going to point out here, he's saying, it's not in me. I swear it's not in me. File that away. That's something we're
Yep.
going to hear again later in the series. Um, and this is like Diego here, like he's
Ugh.
pulling out all the stops. This is
I
this is a big.
love this shot. I'm sorry.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you,
go
but I
ahead.
love that shot, just going
Yeah,
straight
I
down the
agree.
barrel.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
it's we've got this deep. Yep.
the quiver in Dean's face, like,
Yep.
oh.
Which I think is really, again, something that I think is a really interesting performance choice from Jensen, is
Mhm.
the piece that we saw in the cold open made it look like that twitch in his lip was like anger or malice. But now that we see the whole thing, it looks a lot more conflicted than what we saw.
Mhm.
So he can't shoot this guy,
Nope.
and he comes out. They're working on making the bombs. They're making improvised bombs. And the doctor comes out and says, "This guy's not infected." Um, and you can kind of see it in Dean's face, that like, okay, I don't quite know what to do with this. Um,
I was kind of waiting for like a sigh of relief, and you don't
yeah,
get it. You
that's
don't.
not where Dean is right now. Yeah. Like, I think if he were in a better mental state, we'd see exactly what you're talking about, but that's not where he's at. Um, but it takes us to um, Sam is like, okay, we need more. I can't do this with you right now. We need more stuff to make things go boom. And here's pretty nurse Pam. She locks him in this room, and she's like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." And it looks like she's gonna flirt with him, but no, she shoves him. Um, she hits him, she cuts him, cuts herself, and it
Deliberate.
becomes obvious that she's been infected.
Yeah.
Dean shoots her in the back because you don't mess with his Sammy.
Nope.
Um, so nurse is now dead. Um, Dean goes to help Sam up, and the sergeant is like, "No, she bled on him. He's infected. You know it." Um, long,
Oh,
long
look
stare.
at that face. Look at that
Yeah,
face of just complete, like,
yeah,
oh, what the fuck do I do?
yeah, yeah. Dean's entire life, he's had one job, and now here's Sam has been potentially fatally wounded. Um, and again, file this away. We're gonna find out in another episode what's going on with Dean. And it's gonna make this scene here really meaningful. So we're gonna talk about this again. Um, but here's Sam saying, yeah, you've got to kill me. We can't risk me hurting anybody else. And Dean is like, I will murder anyone who thinks they're going to hurt my brother. Like, if you want to live, you better step back. But what he does is he gives them his keys, and he's like, take my car. You've got the explosives. Go, get out of here. I'm not leaving my brother. And so you've got this kind of battle of wills here between Dean and Sam, where Sam is like, no, I'm done for. Hey, give me the gun. I'll do it myself, but y- you don't have to stay behind. And you can just see Dean's determination. There's no way he
Yep. There's
leaves his brother,
nope.
knowing this is the end of the road. Like he believes this is it. That and
Yeah.
he's gonna stay behind and go out with his brother. He's not gonna
I
leave him
found this
behind.
very interesting when he's like, "Thanks, marshals," and he's like, "We're not actually marshals," and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "It's not it's not the norm for Dean to blow their cover."
It is kind of odd. I mean, I think it's a quirky little moment, but I agree. There's sort of no reason for him to tell her they're not marshals. I am amused that he locks them in, though. Like, well, okay, the danger potentially is Sam. I, I'm fairly certain he can unlock a door from the inside. Like,
I'm wondering
like
if he's just hoping that no one has the keys from the outside.
it, yeah,
That
maybe.
that's the way I took that, is to make sure no one can get in
And
to stop Dean.
it, I don't know. It sort of, I stop him from what? Like, I don't know. It doesn't make a terrible amount of sense here to me. But we can talk more about that in a minute. But Sam is crying. So we have a damn it. We have a Sam cries. I would call this a heartfelt bromance.
I
And
was
if you
say it.
listen, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you didn't call this one one, I would have called another one one. So it's six of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, I agree. So, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, but before we pause to look at our Supernatural game cards, we've got this great line from Dean where he says, I'm tired of this weight on my shoulders, which is a callback to the season opener when John said to Dean, you know, he knew he'd always put too much weight on Dean's shoulders. So we're starting to get at what it is that's been driving Dean's behavior.
Yep.
Um, but knock knock, after about 30 seconds, the doctor is back. She says, you better come see this. We have a very tearful Sam, which we'll talk about in a moment. They come out and the town is deserted.
Yep.
Absolutely everyone is gone.
And I love
Uh,
how Sam's out here and no one's freaking out that Sam's out
right.
here.
Yeah. Fair point. Fair point that, supposedly he's infected with a demon virus and he's just standing on the street corner. Everybody's totally gone, but nobody's overly concerned. So yeah, just the five of them standing on the street. And looky, Sam
Yeah.
is not infected. So, like we saw it, he
Yeah.
should have been infected, but he's not. Doctor goes back to look at the Tanner's blood samples, and there's absolutely no trace of the virus. So whatever was going on, it's gone now, and there's absolutely no evidence to explain, or if anybody shows up and says, "Hey, why is half the town missing or dead?" There's no evidence to show anybody. It's all gone. Um, so here go the sergeant and Dwayne. They're leaving to go get reinforcements. The doctor's like, I don't know how I'm going to get people to believe me, but let's try. So she goes back into the clinic. The other two pull away in a pickup truck. Off they go. Um, and they're just like, well, uh, okay, it's over. We don't know why. We don't know how. We didn't do anything. Why is Sam immune? We don't know. We like, and Dean even says at one point, like, okay, I'm going to lose sleep over this one. This is the one that got away. So it's a very sort of strange ending to an episode of Supernatural where, like, what happened? Fuck if I know. So,
Well, that and isn't that a quote? I feel like that's the one that got away. Isn't that a quote that John said at one point, or am I imagining?
mm,
I feel like
um,
John. I thought John said that at one point.
he very well may have. I will say my knowledge of Supernatural is encyclopedic, and that is, but that does not happen to be a piece of information I've retained. If you happen to know, let us know in the comments where you've heard that before. But they pull over here, so we're back to them, and now okay. So here's my question. So Dwayne has a knife. He cuts the sergeant's throat. He's bleeding into a chalice here, and this is him. We've got the chalice of blood. Here's my question: is this Meg?
Oh,
Or because I
wasn't.
mean,
It
it,
wasn't there supposed to be more than one of them?
she had a brother.
So couldn't I would assume this is the brother.
It could be. I mean, it's definitely a demon.
Oh yeah,
We've
clearly.
got we've got the black eyes here. And the demon is reporting back to someone that the Sam Winchester is immune as expected. You know, and I'm going to pause this here.
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be Meg, but
I
at
don't.
this point in the series, she's the only other demon we've seen do this. So
I seriously
what do you
doubt
think?
Meg is working alone. I
Right.
seriously doubt it.
Well, Meg got sent back to hell.
Correct.
You know what? No, the wait a second. I'm trying to remember here. I think the brother was the brother shot with the Colt. So
Y- y- yeah, because wasn't there the line that that you killed both of my
yeah,
children?
yeah. So the brother is dead. Meg got sent back to hell. So it doesn't have to be Meg. But if it is Meg, she's crawled her way back out and she is now topside.
See, I just assumed that there was kind of an army, for lack of a better
Mhm.
word, or like the class A of demons, for even a weirder word or phrase, I guess that would more be. And I assume, like, that's kind of what I assumed that that
Okay.
was.
Well, they don't tell us for certain. So again, let us know in the comments. Do you think this is Meg or just another high-ranking demon? Let us know what you think. Okay, so we are looking for, we had a damn it. Sam cries, a heartfelt bromance. And you know what? If we
Yes.
listen closely, there's an Americana theme playing. So we're looking for all four of those. Um,
Okay.
let's see here.
Uh.
I have an Americana
Oh, I
theme.
do have a Sam cries. 'Cause I was like, wow, I
Okay,
always get it, and no one ever freaking cries in this show.
awesome. Yeah, and that is the only one I have is the Americana theme. I don't have any of the others.
I don't have the Americana theme, but I have the heartfelt bro moment, and I have the Sammer Dean cries. Too bad someone didn't say son of a bitch.
I know we got 67% of one.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Mm-mm. No, and I'm
Uh,
pretty mad about it.
uh,
All right.
and we haven't had an awesomer seriously, correct? Or am
Not
I
that I
losing?
heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say not that. I just want to make sure I wasn't losing it.
You may be, but this is not evidence of it. So,
You know what? I'm having a skosh more. I'm
have
stealing your
a skosh.
expression.
Have a wee skosh.
I'm having a wee skosh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All
Mm,
right, so we just have a couple minutes here. So keep in mind this is the mid-season finale. So we've got to end on a little bit of cliffhanger here. So we've got this demon
yeah.
reporting in that Sam is immune as expected. Um, we've got Dean eating or drinking, but we looked at our cards for that already. So it's just the
Hmm.
two guys hanging out by a river, having a
Having
beer. Job well done. Um, and Sam is starting to confront Dean about that heartfelt moment they had back in the hospital when he thought
yeah.
Sam was going to die. Um, they kind of prod at each other a little bit, and and at a certain point, Dean says, let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of here. Let's go to the Grand Canyon. And this is a conversation that, without spoilers, there's going to be another conversation many seasons from now about the Grand Canyon that doesn't make any sense when we think about what Dean says here. On top of that, again, back to the Supernatural tie-in novel, Witch's Canyon, the very first scene of the boys in Witch's Canyon, they're standing at the Grand Canyon. So uh, it there's some things here about the Grand Canyon that don't make sense. But Dean is trying to say, like, look, man, let's take a break. Let's go on vacation. Let's get out of here. And Sam's like, no, I'm not letting this go. And so Dean finally admits, okay, you know that part where I told you that Dad didn't say anything to me before he died? That was a tiny wee fib. He did actually tell me something. He told me something about you. And we end on this like push in on Sam where he's just like, what did what did Dad tell you? And whatever it is, you can see that it is just tearing Dean up. So
Yep.
finally, that is our episode. That is the cliffhanger that we are
Yeah.
ending the mid-season finale on.
Hmm.
And that's that we're finally going to find out what it is that John told Dean that's been making him act like such a dick for the last 8 episodes.
Oh. So, what does your card look like?
Okay, well,
I
it,
actually have four in a row at one point, and I
oh,
and I just realized it.
oh, where is, oh, I see it. Yeah, you just needed a balls or idiots. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so close, so close. Yeah, mine looks like somebody threw a bunch of spaghetti against the wall and this is what stuck. So I do have three in a row. Let's see, that's two, five, seven. I have seven
One,
total
two,
and
three,
three in a
four, five,
row.
six. I think I have eight. That's me. I can count,
Okay.
which is not always a guarantee. One, two,
Depends on
three,
how much
four,
bourbon
five,
we've had.
six, seven, eight. Eight. Yes.
Okay, so you have a total of eight and you have four in a
Seven.
row.
Yes.
So you have lost by the least.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I've decided that that deserves a wee drink.
Oh, yes, let us toast your near victory.
Yes.
Almost
Cheers.
congratulations. Okay, one thing you loved, one thing. Whoa, that's very tart. If you see me start to drool, it's from the cocktail, I promise.
Now, I will admit, I thought about this and I thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
And because, as I mentioned off camera, I
Right.
decided to try something new this week, and
Okay.
I prepped completely differently.
All right. Interesting. I like an
So
experiment.
yes, so till we started, I kind of knew what, and it's just been something that's been eating at me for a while, so it's not this
Okay.
episode specific.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting. Bring it.
all right, I'm gonna start with what I don't like.
Okay. Haters gotta hate. Tell us.
And you're gonna see how I love this episode. I genuinely
Right.
do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and it just kind of hit me. There's a lot of drinking and driving in this show,
Oh yes. Yeah.
and
There's
that
go ahead.
and that suddenly started to bother me. That like you frequently see them like sitting on the side of the road, having a beer or two, and
Mhm.
then immediately getting behind the wheel of the Impala.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Um,
like,
it's
uh,
problematic.
yeah, it's like, can we not? I mean, don't get. I can't say I've never had a glass of wine and then
Oh,
drink, but
you
there's,
know when to say when,
I
you
know
know?
when to say when,
Right.
and I can't remember whether it's an episode we've already watched or not, but like Sam makes a comment in an episode like, can you even get drunk
Oh,
anymore?
yeah,
Because
that's season seven.
yeah,
Seven? Seven or eight, it might be. Yeah, so it's a long
because
while from now. So yeah, Dean's got a hell of an alcohol. Actually, they all do. They all have a hell of an alcohol tolerance. But so yeah, it's I don't say too much about it here, but it is
yeah,
problematic. And there is an episode a little while from now, I believe it's in season three, where they finish a hunt and Bobby hands them two bottles. Dean takes a sip out of his and he's like, "This fucking soda. What are you handing me soda for?" And Bobby's like, "You're gonna drive." So the show does address it. And I think it's not you're not wrong, and I agree with you. Don't drink and drive, folks. That's why we're in separate places doing this over the wonderful internet.
yes,
We are responsible. So definitely
yeah,
practice responsible drunkenness, people. Don't do what Dean does.
yeah,
Um, but it is his birthday, so we'll let him get away with it this time.
yeah.
Okay,
But
something you
but something I loved, and I know this is not going to come as any shock, is, and it just hit me tonight. There were a lot of really funny comments in this that like the writing, the comedic timing of the
yeah.
writing was spot on. Like
John
I mean,
Schreiben is a hell of a writer. Yeah,
yeah.
his episodes are always great.
I mean, I there's a lot of episodes where I think there's some good like one-liners, but rarely am I actually cracking up
Mm,
laughing, especially at the same line after I've seen the episode 3 or 4 times. Am I
yeah.
still cracking up at the same places? And yeah, so yeah, just
Yeah, that's John Schreiben. Like I said, he's just a hell of a writer. And it's again, it's interesting that you mentioned because like Dean is really funny in this
yeah.
episode, and
Hmm.
he really shouldn't be.
No,
Like
he shouldn't be, but it is.
it's completely inappropriate. So, like, as funny as he is, the fact that he is this funny is one more sign that he's not himself. that like something's really going wrong. And after the winter hiatus, we will find out what that is. Um, okay, so for me, the thing that I really loved the scene between Sam and Dean when um, Dean thought Sam was infected and what Dean was going to have to off him, and he gives the other three his car keys and is like, get out of here. Like Dean has every intention of shooting his brother and himself in that moment. And the way the two actors pull it off is, I think, really great. They do a great job there.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, Jared has talked about this at conventions that there was something about that scene that really hit him, and he got really kind of more emotional than the scene technically called for. So you can kind of see it in the editing that sometimes he's crying, sometimes he's not, um, but that like he really kind of went all out. And after the take, the director Robert Singer said, can you dial this back for me a little bit? This is a little bit quieter of a scene. Um, and like I said, I think what the two of them managed to do there is, is really kind of extraordinary. Where you see them both be emotionally vulnerable, and particularly for Dean, it's because he thinks it's the last time he's ever going to talk to his brother. That he's prepared to be a little more open than he typically is. So I think that's a great scene. The thing I hated, and I know I mentioned this before, but I do not love that like jerky, fast, slow motion
Yeah,
thing. I
I know. It bothers you. It doesn't faze me at all.
I know. I feel like it's not necessary, and it's a little cheesy. And I think what bothers me about it is Robert Singer is a fantastic director, and it feels really gimmicky to me, and it's something that I don't expect from a director of Bob Singer's caliber. That's the thing that bothers me. So, all right. Any other comments?
No, I love this episode. I truly do.
It's good. I think there are better ones coming. So
Yes.
I have a hard time. Like it's a good episode. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I got no hate for it. But there's better ones coming. So I'm reserving my unabashed joy for
Yeah.
for another couple of episodes. But that's
I was gonna
last call.
I was gonna say I will join you in last call.
One last
Call.
one last drink. Last call.
Yeah. Now I'll
Now,
admit I had a hard time picking out something I really loved on this one. Like there was a lot of little things, but like nothing really stood out
yeah,
until tonight when I kept laughing at the humorous lines, and
right.
I was like, you know what? That's what
That's
I'm
what it's
going
going to
with.
be. And I think that's the thing, that it's for a mid-season finale, you want it to really knock your socks off, and
Yeah.
it sort of doesn't. It's a fine episode. It's just
Yeah.
fine, but it's not wow. And there's wow ones coming.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends, like our videos, subscribe, comment. Makes it easier for other people to find us too. We love hearing from our SPN family. So, in addition to commenting on our videos, you can send us an email at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hunter Fuel Podcast. In
Uh,
our next episode, we'll be watching season 2, episode 10, Hunted, when Sam loses his shoe. Until then, be safe, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.